Yeah,
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh, I can't believe that.
I
No,
can
hold
take
on.
care.
Wait,
Ooh,
hold on.
Oh, I see more.
oh, that's awesome. That
Can we just do it like that the whole show?
Perfect.
that
Right?
would-
We'll have
Got
the
some mushrooms?
space.
That'll
We'll have
really
the
help.
space age show,
Let
right?
me run
The
to the car
space
real
age show.
quick.
Oh my gosh, let me see. Hold on here.
Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. It's your
Okay.
one-stop real estate shop. You got access to the entire team. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And if you choose to live stream with us on a Saturday, evidently on Facebook, you may be able to hear us now.
Yes, everybody should hear us now. So we have an open house at 887 West Duval Street in Lantana. It's a 3-1 with a pool on a corner lot. Great neighborhood. Mava, one of the agents on my team, is going to be there from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock today. It is on the Facebook page, so you can check out all the details there. We were just talking about Tom, a school teacher who just went under contract for his first home,
Sure.
which we're really excited about.
Everybody on radio heard us, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to wrap up real quick. So what happened? I know you guys hate that, but
You're
I
summarizing.
try to be fair to everybody.
Yeah,
So,
well, hey,
so what happened
if you can't hear us, turn the radio on.
exactly.
You got to
should
piece
just
it
go
together
92.
on your own. Sometimes.
You have to go to 92.1 or 101.7. So one of the things that happened with Tom is something that's been happening to me a lot lately is dealing with real estate agents that are lacking in skills. And I hate to say it that way. And I'm not going to be, sometimes I get so frustrated when I'm negotiated and I can get kind of pretty pissy about, about dealing with agents that kind of aren't.
You want synonyms for amateurs.
Yeah. And I'm
Johnny, got any?
But
Rookie,
and green.
This isn't ego stuff I'm talking about, guys. This is real life stuff that can happen in real life to you if you don't pick the right agent. Of course, we're top agents. We're highly trained. There's a lot of us out there, but there's a lot more that are not. The reason why I brought it up, I've gone through a bunch of stuff in the last 6 weeks that have been very tough. I've talked to more lawyers in the last 6 weeks for contract issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Than I have in a very, since short sales.
Well, let's be fair, too. I think it was just last week, maybe the week before, you actually name dropped an agent that was awesome to work with for the exact other reason. Like there are other very
there's
seasoned,
some that are great to work with
right.
and can't wait to work with them again, and they feel
Right.
the same way.
Right.
The reason why I'm bringing it up, though, is I was thinking, okay, I'm just having some buzzard luck here, and, it happens. But there was an article in the Florida Realtors magazine that says we have about 1 million agents right now in the country. Now, we were as high as like 1.3 million at one point,
Jeez.
but across the country, we have 1 million agents. There's only 5 million to 6 million homes sold every year. So that means if you average it out, every agent is only doing 5 or 6 deals a year. That's why I've always said in Florida, the average agent does like 8 homes to 10 homes a year, maybe 12, right? 8 to 12 homes a year, like one a month. And everybody goes, wow, that sounds kind of low, right? Well, the national average, if you were to divide it all out, is 5 to 6 homes a year.
Right. But you said average, right?
Right. So there's tons of agents like Keller Williams, for example. We're 25% of all the sales that happen in this country, right? We're 25. So we have 25% of the market share, right? That puts us on the level of almost like a Zillow company where we have as much data collected as like Zillow does on analyzing homes across the country. Keller Williams might be playing around with that a little bit, hint, hint, which is kind of interesting. So the article was saying with the 1 million agents, we've already lost 300,000 agents roughly across the country because of the downturn in slow sales. That's what everybody pulled out, was because of slow sales, not prices. And the interesting part is the agents now are really kvetching that there's so many agents that aren't trained properly and they don't know what's going on. And it really affects transactions. People go, oh, I'm going to hire my sister's aunt's best friend's cousin because I want to do them a favor and give them a commission. Right. And you're dealing with the most expensive sale or purchase in your life for 99.9% of the people, whether it's your first house or the 6th house you're selling. It's still huge money you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
even if this isn't your first rodeo,
Exactly.
odds are in this climate, it's probably a larger transaction than your last.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we're dealing with a home, right?
So I don't want to go into real numbers with Tom, so I'm going to make up the numbers here, but the ratios will be the same. And this is what Tom experienced because of an agent that wasn't that sharp. And we just dealt with this week. Okay. So the house was on the market. I'm making up numbers. So let's say the house was on the market for 300, right? We wanted to turn in an offer. He was willing to pay the full price if he needed to. I called up the agent as we're structuring the offer, and I told him that we were going to come in full. He said, I'm not sure if that's going to work. I go, will that do it for us? He goes, I'm not sure. We have another offer coming in, and I'm not exactly sure the price they're going to do. So Tom said, why don't you go up in price a little bit? So we moved up just a few $1,000s above the 300 list price. And then Tom was worried that he might lose the house, right, to the other bidder. So what he said is let's go ahead. I'm willing to go up to this price, which was a higher price, not significantly higher, but he was kind of given everything he got. And I wasn't sure if the other agent was kind of messing with us and said there was an offer and just trying to pull us up without having an offer, because that happens sometimes.
Sure.
Wouldn't be the first time for that, right?
Right. Never, not the first time. And the agent I was dealing with, I couldn't tell if they were like super seasoned or not. So what I did was I said, if you want to increase the price, let's do what's called an escalation clause. Have you guys heard of escalation clauses before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike
sure.
has, right?
Sure.
So the way the escalation clause is done, if you do it correctly, is there's actually an addendum related to the contract you're using for the sale that breaks out all the deals, the escalation clause. So with us, what we did is we said that we were willing to go up in $1,000 increments until a certain number, right? So anybody that was competing with us, if they went up $500 more than an offer, well, we would offer $1,000 more than that up to a certain point, right? And it also says in that document that the seller must provide written documentation that the other offer is legitimate, seller acceptable, and that it's executable. So they can't just turn in an offer with no proof of funds, or they can't turn in an offer and there was a date that the offer had to be accepted and it was past that date and the the offer's no good anymore.
Gotcha.
And you have to give it to you in writing, either before you negotiate the price to let the buyer know what the price is going to be, right? Or as you're turning in the accepted offer. Okay. So
meaning you guys, it escalated to this, but we're accepting your offer because you're
we're
the
accepting your
highest
offer
bidder at this point.
because of the escalation, and then show how the numbers gelled out,
Sure.
right? So that's what we were expecting. I called him up when I turned in the offer and said, hey, we turned in an escalation clause in case we're not the top number. Let me know. And he goes, okay. I got to check with the seller. I'm not sure we're going to need to do the escalation clause now, but okay, right? That's what I heard.
That's good information for you, right?
Right. Well, what happened was the next day he turned in the offer. Now it's the exact offer that we put together, right? Including the escalation clause. Everything was filled out except the escalation clause. They didn't fill anything out in there. Never gave us a backup contract, or the other contract that was supposed to happen. And they gave us the initial offer price that we turned in without the escalation. And they signed everything. And then we realized that there was no escalation clause kicked in. So we said, I guess they didn't have a bona fide offer. And great, I'm glad we did the escalation clause over the other thing, because we might have outbid ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I saved them thousands, and that was great, right? But we went through the inspection last week, and this is where having not a great agent became very apparent. We negotiated, because of the inspection, we negotiated a price reduction. Right? So let's just say it was $5,000 price reduction. So what we did is we said in an addendum, the seller agreed to the price reduction for repairs. So we put in the addendum, seller or buyer agree that the purchase price is going to be changed from the price that we had to $5,000 lower, totaling this amount. Right? So let's just say the $300,000 was accepted. We reduced it $5,000. We're reducing it to $95,000. Thank God I wrote that out in the addendum, instead of just saying a $5,000 price drop, because they came back to me and said, no, we're not closing at the 300. We had an escalation clause. So you're supposed to close at I'm making it up, 305. And I'm like, no, you turned in all the contracts to us and didn't tell us there was any escalation. I signed the escalation clause, he's saying. My seller signed the escalation clause. I go, yeah, but you didn't do anything with the escalation clause.
It didn't escalate.
Right. I go, you didn't give us anything to show that there was an escalation. So I just assumed you guys didn't have an escalation, need an escalation. Oh, no. Went back and forth. He actually got really mad at me, hung up. We let him cool off, call him back. And then he said something really nasty to me, like I wasn't being professional. He actually said at one point in an email, you're being so petty. You knew what the intent of the contract was. Right. And
you're like, I'm not petty. I do know the intent of the contract. What went wrong on your end?
Exactly. Like, so I finally said to him, look, sir, I'm not trying to be rude to you. I'm just trying to facilitate a deal between two parties. We do have a problem here. Yeah. I'm not beating you up.
Yeah.
I go, but now that you're beating me up, I'm going to tell you, you really screwed up really bad for your seller. You're costing your seller $5,000 right now. And if I were your seller, I would ask for you to pay that real estate out of your real estate commission, because you didn't do anything that you were supposed to do. And I did everything I was supposed to do, and I'm willing to work with you, and I'm not trying to beat you up here, but don't get nasty with me. So I said, this is what I need you to do. Prove to me that I'm wrong. Show me that you sent me the contract. Show me that you did what you were supposed to do, and I'll be more than happy to admit my mistake, apologize to you, and we'll take care of it.
Highlight it.
So 3 hours later, I get the executed addendum exactly the way we wrote it. We got the price that we wanted, which was the $295, because they realized none of it worked.
Yep.
That cost that seller $5,000, in this case, $5,000. That's what the seller ended up costing them. These are maybe it's not the end of the world to people, but $5,000 to me is $5,000. If you saw $5,000 in the ground, you picking it up? Hell yeah, you're picking it up.
I might look around first.
You might look around, go, nah, I don't want to bend down.
Where's the camera? Right.
So
what about the inspection issues? Or did
they
that have
agreed to take care of all of it? No, they agreed to take care of all of it. And that seller was very stand up, because I was very nervous about this. Here's the good part about that, Mike. Good question. If we had the fight over the escalation, I knew that we would win because we had contracts there and the contracts were written correctly. So I knew that we would win. But what we would win was the full list price that we gave them originally.
Right.
And because we were going back and forth on the inspection and it wasn't executed, the seller could have just said at that point, you know what? We're just going to sell the house at full price. I'm not giving you anything. And if you don't want it,
walk away.
You could walk away,
Yep.
and I'll give you your deposit back. And if not, we're closing at the full list price. And I was very nervous for my my buyer, Tom, because he's on a budget. He's a teacher, first-time homeowner. I'm trying to do the best I can. And I'm like, if this negotiation goes bad, you might end up paying like $2,500 more than what we're contracted now for, right? And he's like, his father called, right? We had a long conversation with the dad. The dad was really, I'm not going to wit here, impressed with the way I explained the negotiations would go, and it worked out for Tom, right? So my guy was able to save the $5,000 benefit he was looking for. Seller lost it, all because the agent basically didn't send me that contract. He did have the contract, by the way. He sent it to me 7 days late. So the contract really was there. It wasn't a BS, right?
And it would have escalated you guys another $2,500.
And he probably could have saved himself if he failed to give us that, but he had filled out the escalation clause with the new number, but he didn't do that either.
Yeah.
And that's all basic paperwork 101 training.
Submit the offer, then verify that it can be executed. He didn't do any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really important to have the right agent. There were 3 people this week I talked to that are going to be hiring us and have said that they know agents that are either very close friends or family members, but listening to us and seeing all the stories and the anecdotes we give, real life stuff, they felt that based on their situation that their sales were going to be complicated. So they wanted to have somebody that knew their stuff and has been doing with this.
Yeah, can execute.
It's hard. Remember when agents get, especially newly licensed agents, and they're supposed to reach out to their family and friends and just say, don't be, what do they call it? The silent agent.
Secret agent.
Secret agent,
Yeah,
right? You
secret
have to
agent.
let them know. And so then once you know that your family member who's, maybe a step or two away or whatever is in the business, you kind of feel like an obligation.
Obligated.
An obligation. Yeah.
Well, worst case scenario is they find out I sold my home without using them. They're going to be mad at me. And oh my gosh, I want to give them the commission. And how many times have I said it? I wish I had $1 for every time I said it. They might be the best people in the world. Doesn't mean they're great at what they do.
Exactly. And the thing is,
you should come up with the top 10 list, Jim, of reasons to give your family members why you didn't hire them for your real estate
excuses.
Just prepackaged, I didn't know.
I didn't know you were a realtor. Oh, I didn't know you worked my price point.
Right.
I didn't know you worked my area.
I thought
I got 3 right there.
I thought you were just a buyer's agent.
That was quick.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Or I thought you were just a listing agent.
I had already signed a seller's agreement prior to without knowing.
Yeah.
Right?
There's 5 right there. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Right.
You got stuff.
Whew.
So
top 10 list. Go.
How about that? You're new and you're terrible.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving might not be fun.
I wouldn't hire you to mow my lawn.
It's kind of funny when people think that way, because what they're thinking about is being nice and as like, hey, if I'm going to pay a real estate commission, I also give it to a friend or a family member or whatever, right? But they're thinking it's kind of like agents, brand new agents when they become agents and they're struggling with their business, which is very common. It was with me when we started. And then what happens is they're thinking about joining a team like my team, right? And then when they find out what the splits are for the team, like how the money is broken down, then they don't like the idea of the team anymore because they don't like the money split, right? The splits for it. And I'm not just saying my team, just any team in general, right?
Sure.
And I always laugh because they're not making any money right now. They're making nothing.
Right.
They don't have any business coming up.
Well, when you're in a team, you're in a pipeline.
Right. You have a pipeline of people just giving you stuff and things to do and guiding you on how to make money, right? But they're more worried about money they haven't made yet, like the commission split on money they haven't even made.
That's awesome.
And that's the same thing when you hire an agent in a way. It's the same kind of mentality in a way when you're like a seller and you're saying, I just want to give it to Mary because she's a good person and I want to give her the commission. And you haven't even, you don't even know if you're making the kind of money that you're going to make on the house yet.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you don't know. And if Mary doesn't know it, then it's the blind leading the blind. But you're doing a great favor for a relative. And then if it goes bad, I've seen it go really bad.
I say just take a couple $1,000s and pitch it at him when it's all said and done. Like, hey,
you could do that too.
That's for you.
Listen, I felt bad, but I didn't want to hire you. But here's a little something.
Good luck in your ventures.
I got $10,000 more for my house by hiring the pros.
Exactly.
I can afford to give you
here's a little good luck.
And it is worth mentioning. It's not just about price, right? We're talking about like sometimes deals go super smooth, everything's hunky dory, and sometimes you really got to be in the trenches fighting for your client to make sure that their interests are protected and that everything works out the best way possible for them.
And Tom is a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
2 things happen there. First thing, if he had a weaker buyer's agent, they might have just gave him that max amount money in the escalation clause just to beat everybody out.
Sure.
And he wouldn't, and it was even proven with the contract that we got, it was just a little above what we had turned in. So if he offered that bigger number, it would have cost him a few $1,000s extra that he didn't need to pay. And having the right agent to go, I'm not sure if this is legit or not. So let's turn in the escalation clause so that they have to prove to us they really have an offer.
Yeah.
So we're not negotiating against ourselves. Not all agents think that way. Right. The second thing is that
some are so desperate to just get the deal
they
done.
They just want the deal done.
Let's just whatever.
Yeah.
And some agents have never even seen the addendum, apparently. First time encountering the addendum.
Exactly. And not even understanding what the addendum requires them to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, and the examples we just said with the listing agent, on the listing agent side, if you don't hire the right agent, you don't file the contracts correctly, and that agent, he wouldn't go in a contract with us at first. It took us like 4 days to get him into the contract because he wanted to get all the condo docs before we went into contract, because there's a regulation you have to turn in condo docs to a buyer. So he wanted to have all that lined up before he took an offer. And I was really afraid that we would get another buyer while we were waiting and that we'd be competing with the third buyer. So I kept saying to him, you don't have to wait for all the condo docs. You could just go into contract with us right now. And then you have a certain time period afterwards, and we'll even help you gather those condo docs if you need help. Let's just get into contract, right? And that's kind of what pushed it over. And that's why he ended up start negotiating at that point. But I had to guide the listing agent, say, hey, you should start taking offers now if I were you,
Well, thankfully Tom had you.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it that way. I hope it doesn't come off that way. What I'm saying
it that
okay,
way.
okay, good.
We'll do it.
Yeah. And it's really important. Tom, with Tom, it was so important to have Mike's app, right? Because Mike is the mortgage broker for that. Tom was super tight. Okay, so that app was so crucial. We had to sit there and say, we can't afford it at this price in order to buy this house, and we would change the numbers in the app to get it down to the right number that would be approved.
Like literally standing there looking at your phone or something.
Yeah,
we would, in the unit.
Yeah,
thinking about what you're going to offer.
Right.
Okay, how do we make it work from a qualifying perspective, and then how do you make it comfortable from a budget and cash perspective for Tom?
So how you do that is you put in the purchase price, the taxes, whether there's a HOA or condo fee, if there's any seller concessions. Sometimes we use that seller concessions tab to put in the down payment assistance, right? You're
massaging numbers in a way that you can see if it works or not,
right?
From both Tom's perspective and from my side, right? The qualifying side,
right
and
there.
it's real time,
Yeah.
and it's helpful. I mean, it's like critical even when you're super tight, even if it's of your own making. Like you've set your limit. Well, how do I get to this limit? Okay, I can massage my down payment, and maybe we get seller credit to help with the cash position. It's all those things.
I wore the damn thing out.
Yeah. Jimmy
used it
Yep.
almost every day for quite a while.
Yeah. And that is such a powerful tool. And it's so different than those mortgage calculators you get online, like when you're just trying to figure out. Because those mortgage calculators are basing it just on national averages. They don't know you.
Right.
Mike's app is done after you've gone through all the qualifications, and he plugs in certain stuff behind the scenes.
He's gonna make it you.
Yeah. It's your app. It
Yep.
isn't just a mortgage calculator app. And it's so powerful to use it. And when you're on a tight budget, that is such a crucial tool because it saves a lot of heartbreak. Because sometimes you're just like, no way, it ain't happening. This house is out. And sometimes it might be because the HOA is just too high, or the condo fee is just too high, or maybe it's the taxes sometimes just blows out. Like you could afford the purchase price, but the taxes are higher than all the other units in the area, and you just can't buy that unit. You might be able to buy another unit down the hallway, but not that unit.
It's just so impressively useful. Contrast that with the way that most buyers, or not most, but a good percentage of buyers are out there with a pre-approval letter in hand that says 325,000, right? It doesn't tell you anything, Johnny. It doesn't give you the information you need in order to really know if it's gonna work and do you want it to work, right? Like you got to know your numbers. I mean, we talk about that all the time, but it's amazing to me. And I've never, even before I had that tool, Jim, we were always shopping with specific numbers, right? I would just generate them on a spreadsheet and say, hey guys, here's the numbers for this house. And I would give you a range of prices so you can analyze, okay, what if we offer 5,000 less or 5,000 more or whatever it is. And so we've always shopped that way. This just makes it like super
accurate and accurate.
Yeah,
sometimes I'm coming up with numbers is like, you could afford, let's say the house is on the market for $375. Well, with the taxes and condo fees or HOA fees, with this one, you could afford $341,773. That's the max number that you could buy this house for. So sometimes that's what we do. We tell the buyers, if they really want the house, we're going to turn the offer and give them everything you got. And if they counter you back, say, that's it.
That's all we got.
That's what I got it.
Yep.
Take it or don't take it.
Well, you can have that kind of expertise as well. Buying, selling a home, investment. These are homesteads, everything in between. Look, even if you're struggling, maybe you're drowning in student loan debt. We haven't talked about that in a while. Florida Talk Real Estate is a team of pros that cover like every aspect in real estate, things that are on the outskirts and then things that are right in the center, the nucleus of it all. These are pros in every aspect too. And you get them all at floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. You can dial the hotline. You'll find it at floridatalkrealestate.com. That's 888-973-7828. 888-973-7828. Again, at floridatalkrealestate.com, or on Facebook and YouTube as well, floridatalkrealestate.com. Now, if you want to be a part of the program, if you're new to Real Radio, it's the old Real Radio number if you've been around a while, 877-927-6969. If you're new, I'll say it again, a little slower, 877-927-6969. You can join the program. We're on for another hour and 10 minutes on this Saturday, the 29th of July.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
29th.
Drop
Come
the
on,
mic.
one time.
Can
Just don't
I
break.
can't do it.
What's the weather?
Weather currently 87 degrees. It feels like 95.
All right.
when you're saying the 877 number, two things pop in my head. Number one, my favorite person saying the phone number 877-927-6969 in this studio was or this station was always Dr. Rich. Dr. Rich is.
He made you dial it just by saying
Yeah,
it.
just by saying it. He had that voice. And
I would
the
throw
way
my
he
panties
said,
at the radio.
I know, exactly. I miss you, Dr. Rich. I hope you're doing well. And the other thing I was thinking is the one time that we had a gratitude show a few years back, and we had all these people calling in that weren't real estate related. And I had a rocket scientist who created this app where you could follow the satellite all over the universe or whatever. And I wanted to put him on the show. And I sent him an email to set up the time so he can call in live and everything. And I gave him the phone number, and he didn't call for the show. And I'm like, what the heck? Why did the guy blow me off? I talked to him like 3 times. When I got off the show, I saw this really nasty email from him saying, why would you prank me like this? And he was so mad. He thought I pranked him.
Oh, no.
So I called him back because I knew exactly what happened. I called him back. He goes, and he was mad. As soon as he picked up on purpose to yell at me, he starts yelling at me.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to it. I go, before we go any farther, let me ask you, can you open up your phone? And I go, did you use your cell phone? He's like, yeah. I go, can you open up your phone and tell me the number you dialed? Well, he didn't dial 877. No. He dialed a different number.
Yeah.
Which
and he
was
got, hey, you want some hot man on?
Yeah,
man
male
loving?
porn sex, right?
Wow.
Male porn sex line.
You've come to the right place.
How did you know that, Johnny?
We've had that phone number for a long time.
Oh, we might have heard this a couple times.
Yeah, he's not the first. He's not the first to dial the wrong number.
Isn't that funny?
How long do those calls last? As long as you want.
As long as you want, Mike. As long as you want.
Like how quickly does it take you before you're hanging up? Like, wait a second. This isn't Florida Talk Real. Maybe it'll get there.
What's hilarious though is you dialed it again, and you're like, nope, that's still not it.
He was so embarrassed. He's like, oh,
funny.
and I was like, I wouldn't do that to you, dude. Anyway, it's funny. He didn't call back though. So at least not our number, maybe the other number, who knows. I just wanted to say we have the open house today at 887 West Duval Street in Lantana. It's from 1 to 4 p.m. You can catch it all on our Facebook page. We were mentioning that this is a great 3-bedroom, 1-bath pool home at only $450, which is great price for this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that we have 2 offers that came in last night and the owners don't know yet. Well, he was listening because he just wrote, "Good morning, Jim. Yes, I'm listening." We had 2 offers last night for 887. Sweet.
Yeah.
If you can call after the show and give us a call and let us know, I'm excited. So he said, thanks.
Yeah.
No, I'm not calling you, John. I'm just going to let the offer sit there. We're not going to talk about it all.
Put you on ignore, actually. And we may have some more offers in the hopper there today with Mava out.
That's what I'm hoping. Yep, 1 to 4. So
I liked one thing you said there, Jim. You said Mava has a list of other homes that may meet the criteria of potential people who would like that home if they can't buy it for whatever reason. She has some other ones. I didn't know you did that. And it's cool.
Yeah, it's really a smart thing to do. It's part of our system. So of course we're trying to sell the house that we have the open house for, but we also know, and here's a statistic most people don't know. What percentage of the homes, Jimmy knows this, I don't know if he remembers what I told him, what percentage of homes do you think are actually sold during the open house process, whether you have one or multiple open houses? How many houses actually sell from the open house, percentage-wise?
I think you said what percentage of the home? 100% of the home will sell.
Yeah, well, you got that right.
50-50, no. I don't know. What do you think, Johnny? You always go first.
I feel like that's like a 1 in 5 shot. So I'm going to say 20% of the homes.
Wow, I was going to go way less. I was going to go like 5-6%, something like that.
Man.
Is it 10?
Can I change mine?
2%.
Boom.
2.
Wait, do I win? We're
Kind of
we're
win.
all
Yeah,
over.
you win if it was just low as if it was the price is right,
Closest
you
to.
won. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
knew
went
there was
over
a 2
though.
in it though. I knew it.
But yeah, so it's only 2%. So why would we do that? Why would we do open houses if you have a 2% chance of selling the house through the open houses? Why would you do that?
Meaning the buyer who bought the home attended the open house.
Yeah, I went to the open house, and then they're the one that actually closed on the house.
Well, for the purposes like you noted, is that you're seeing a lot of people potentially, and
Mhm.
that may not be the home for them, but we may have access to the home that is for you. And oh, by the way, you have an agent. Hi, I'm Mava.
It's also a little bit rigged, the statistic, because you could have 20 people come to the open house and all make offers, but only one person's getting it.
But that house would
still,
count as
but under that
sold.
stat, it would still count as sold through the open house if you think about it.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean?
got you. Yeah. All right.
So the reason why you should do it, at least in my opinion, is that
Open houses.
well, you have a 2% chance. So
You're saying
if
there's
you
a
do that,
chance.
yeah, exactly. You have a 2% chance of that. If
Well,
you
hey,
put-
we buy lotto tickets, right?
right? If you do social media, that increases a certain percentage, right? Then if you do certain types of things with the presentation of the house on the MLS, like if you like the new thing is now, there's a new app that a lot of professional photographers use that will give you a layout as if you had a new construction home on your old home, right? So it gives you an actual layout with dimensions and everything.
Floor plan.
Yes, and it isn't the 3D video. That's an important thing too. This is just a layout, just like you would get.
Mhm.
Zillow now, we've watched Zillow grow and grow and grow, and Zillow is the 800-pound monster in the real estate market because we know at least 85% of all buyers, even if they have an agent, go to Zillow to do their home searches.
That's crazy to me.
Oh, the thing is that it's a very pretty site. It isn't that accurate, but it's very pretty and easy to use.
How they have branded, like people go to Zillow is amazing.
And they've
done
really
a great job.
Yeah, they really have. So the thing with Zillow is when we first started, the secret was if you wanted to be ranked higher in the Zillow searches, you had to have more than a certain amount of photos, right? So we always knew a lot of realtors back then would shoot 4 or 5 photos of the house and that's it. But Zillow wanted 25. So if you had 25 photos and you were in a search and there were 20 homes just like yours, who goes first? If there are 20 homes all at the same price.
Right.
Well, Zillow starts looking, it's like, oh, this one has high 25 photos. Oh, they're high resolution. Oh, they got a 3D video tour.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they got this. Oh, they got that. And now the big thing is after all those check marks, open floor, the floor layout. So now we're paying an extra, I don't know, $25 a listing, whatever, and getting that.
And not one of those criteria is like, oh, still active, like currently on market. Like,
no, it's more about that. Yeah, it's more about that. So what we do is that we know that Zillow wants that stuff to get the most views.
They'd love for you to click through all those pictures, right?
Duval Street has had over 4,000 views on Zillow. It's only been out like 10 days, 14 days. And it's already had 4,000 views on Zillow. So people are looking at it, right? Yeah. So we know people are looking. It's important. So yes, let's say that the Zillow stuff gives us a little edge to get higher in the search engine, right? We do the open houses and then we do the high resolution photos and we do all this stuff that just is like best practices.
Yep.
2% edge here, 1% edge here, 3% edge here. You add it all together. That's why my house is selling 21 days or less most of the time, right?
And at the percent to list sold that you get,
I'm still in the 98% list price to sold price this whole year.
And what's the average? Is like 91 or something?
Well, it's 94. It's actually moving up a little bit
little?
because the inventory is going down, but it got as low as like 92%. It's like 94, 96% right now.
And that was in the heyday of like a year, 2 years ago, where people were getting well above asking, like, and you always maintain that like 98% because you're marketing, you know what you're doing. It's floridatalkrealestate.com.
So it's really important to have systems and to do things in a certain way. The biggest problem I have is when sellers come to me or buyers come to me and they don't want to follow the systems. I just went through that recently where I bent a lot of my systems for a couple I really care about.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that was the biggest mess ever. And I'm never doing it again. It was a big wake up call to say, don't break your rules for people who don't understand why those rules are important.
Well, I don't
and
understand
then we
why
went through it. I warned them, and then we went through it, and everything that I said could happen happened.
Well, why do you hire a professional that's really good at what they do and that's something that matters to you, and then not do what they're trying to do for you? It never makes any sense.
Yeah,
it's like going to your doctor, and your doctor goes, "Here's our plan," and you're like, "Nope, not doing any of that, doc." You're like, "Well,
yeah, I don't trust doctors."
Yeah, that's why you don't go to them. Once you go to them, you've already made the commitment.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do what you say.
That was just
right?
a moment of weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, hiring the best and not listening to what they're trying to do for you is crazy.
It kind of just reinforces the stakes. I mean, this is a huge thing. Sometimes the biggest financial thing, but it's also biggest maybe emotional thing that you're going through.
Yeah, your
right?
lifestyle stuff.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah, stakes are high.
You want to do a little reset?
Well, I want to see what Jimmy's going to say about the call first.
Okay,
so
very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that. 877-927-6969. It is toll free to join us on a Saturday. Jimothy's actually on the phone right now. We don't want to jump into a break if he has somebody wanting to join the program. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, I totally understand. I might one day become comfortable on the radio. You can always go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It is your one-stop real estate shop. You got access to the entire team. We're on Facebook and YouTube as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate. But always remember that .com, your one-stop real estate shop, access to the entire team.
Hey, Jimmy, can you find out if that caller will hold for the break?
Sure.
And because I know it's 10 o'clock, and then see if they will. And if they will, we'll wait. If not, we'll take the call.
Okay.
Is that all right? Either way.
Yeah.
Just let me know. Is that okay?
Whenever, yeah. It's your time, brother. I'm here doing what you do. Tell me.
He's cool. Okay, let's go ahead and take that break. We're going to take the caller on the flip side. What is he calling about, Jimmy?
Homeowners insurance.
Awesome. We'll talk about that. That's a big topic right now. So we'd love to answer those questions for him.
Excellent. We got all of that and more. An hour remaining on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. You can dial up as well. 877-927-6969. We'll get to your phone call, your questions, comments, concerns 4 minutes from now. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We're everywhere you need to be. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. Hot and humid this afternoon with temperatures in the low 90s, though feeling like the triple digits. We'll see an isolated shower or thunderstorm through this afternoon, then partly cloudy, warm again tonight with temperatures in the 70s and low 80s at the coast by Sunday morning.
This report is sponsored by Fresh from Florida.
Make quick and easy family meals with the tastiest flavors of Florida. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop and find delicious, refreshing recipes for what's in season at followfreshfromflorida.com.
From the Florida Department of Agriculture.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, it is 877-927-6969. That toll-free number to join us. We got just about an hour remaining on a Saturday. Thanks for being with us. Us is, me, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. Hello, my brother.
Hello. Good morning. How you doing, Johnny?
Fantastical. Thanks for asking. Of course, our starting lineup always top-notch in their field, like Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. That's right. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello, Michael.
Yeah. Hi. You know, you gave me that name. You invented that on my very first show.
Yep.
He's like, what do you want to be called? Oh, I don't know. Of course, I came in unprepared. I don't know.
Yeah, how about Mike?
Johnny's like, how about the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm?
Yeah,
perfect.
It's our dude. Nice
and the rest is history.
It really truly is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've gone with Bill.
I just change everything.
Yeah. Call me Lazarus.
Ooh.
Well, that's kind of cool, huh?
Damn.
I think you wanted to be called Dragon, and I was like, no, dude. Unless you're calling me Nighthawk, I'm not calling you Dragon.
Dragon, the mortgage guy.
Of course, for 11 plus years, I've told you that he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. That's our fearless leader. With the Keller Williams Innovations, you find the Florida Home Pros team and our guy, Jimmy D. Jim DePola, how you be?
Thanks, Johnny. I'm doing good. Mike, I just remembered something when you were talking about the mortgage firm and everything. Mike Doyle.
Yeah.
In the other office.
Sure.
He invited us to some event, you and me specifically, where he bought a table.
Both of us?
Yeah, and I don't know. He specifically asked for you to come, and I don't know what the event is.
No.
And I only saw it last night, so I don't know if we missed it or not. But
I don't remember seeing anything. But yeah, I get along with Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike and I see each other a couple times a year, probably.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's actually he's got a Wellington office now. So he was at Lake Worth, partnering with a guy named Oscar. And then I don't know if they're still connected or Mike just did his own thing, but the mortgage firm Wellington.
Oh, maybe that's why he wanted us to stop by. Maybe that's the event or something. Maybe it's the opening of the office.
I mean, they've been there, but maybe it is time for some sort of opening.
Yeah, so I'll let you know about. Yeah, I'll let you know.
That was last night.
I don't know. I just saw the email yesterday. I'm pretty overwhelmed because Nancy's been off for a week. So it's me.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
No. Johnny knows.
So if you've called or emailed or texted Jim in any way this past week. Do it again.
I would do it again. I would do it again. But I've been pretty good this week. I was pretty proud of myself. I was pretty organized this week.
Yeah, I'll let Nancy decide that.
Johnny doesn't believe a word I'm saying right now.
Don't. Nancy is everything to the Florida Home Pros.
She is.
Yes.
Yes. So when she's not around, we know we need her. And you know what? If it wasn't with, Nancy, just to let you know about good agents and everything we were talking about, Nancy predicted that we were going to have a problem with that escalation clause. Because the first thing she said is, hey, they never escalated the escalation clause.
She noticed.
She noticed right away.
They didn't do anything with that.
And she goes, what do you want to do with it? And I'm like, I guess they don't need it. And I just ignored it. But she predicted that we were going to have an issue with that.
Awesome.
So it's really great to have great people working with you.
It'll be even better to have her back, I'm sure.
She's very proactive too.
That's
one of the things that one of the first words that comes to my mind when I think of her.
What she does is excel.
Yeah,
she's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. Been with me 11 years now.
Yeah,
you've been very blessed.
Obviously, take good care of her because she takes great care of you.
Yes, she does.
And all of the clients.
She does.
Let's get to these phone calls. What do you say?
Let's knock out the calls.
877-927-6969. Who do we got for a third?
We have Jay. He had a homeowner's insurance question. Jay, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, guys.
What's up, dude?
The best doing in real estate.
Hey, everything's going good, Jay. What's going on?
I got a renewal from my insurance company. It's unfortunately with Citizens for the last year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a postcard solicitation from a company called KIN, K-I-N.
Okay.
And I took a quote from them because I had spoken with them years ago. They're a Chicago-based outfit. I did the research on them. They carry an A rating with the Motec out of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They fall in the middle, and they gave me a rating that was a little higher than what I'm going to be paying with my renewal with what I say I have. I have
Citizens.
I have Citizens.
Yeah.
What they brought up was the reason that they quote a little bit higher is they got something called full coverage as opposed to actual coverage. If Ross is there, can you explain that to me?
Yeah, unfortunately, Jay, Ross isn't here today. He will be back next week. So what we'll do is off air, because I have your information in our database. I'll connect you to Ross, and then you guys can get together on Monday and talk about what Ross will do. Jay, is he'll compare your policy that you have now compared to the policy you're being offered, and then tell you the difference between the two so that you can make an informed decision.
He also might have some insight on KIN Insurance. I haven't heard of that company. I haven't seen quotes from them, but might have some. I mean, I know the answer to what Jay's asking. If you want,
go ahead.
It's all about Jay. The two distinctions are replacement cost. This is the coverage on your property, your personal property, not your home. Your personal property is either covered at replacement cost or actual cash value, which is essentially used cost. So if you had a loss and your TV was part of it, are they giving you money to go buy a brand new TV? Or are they giving you some sort of depreciated value based on the TV that you own?
Right.
So that's a distinction, and it's to personal property. And I think that's what he's talking about. But Ross is certainly a good.
Yeah, Ross's example with that a lot of times, Mike, was like you bought a car, he was exaggerating, but you buy a couch for $10,000, and then 5 years later, the couch gets burned up in a fire. Do you get a discounted thing for a 5-year-old couch, or do you get the new replacement value of $10,000?
Right.
So that's how some people save money in their premiums right now, is to go to actual cash value.
Yeah.
It'll be cheaper, but then if you have an event, you're going to be not getting what you're hoping to get.
That's right.
When that happens.
Right.
So that's the trade-off. But Ross can go over details with you, that Jay, on early next week. Okay.
Sound okay?
Okay, fine.
Excellent. Any other questions there, my friend?
Yeah, Exodus Companies. Farmers Insurance is doing an exodus.
Yeah, and so it's AAA.
Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like every week there's this whole couple of new names that are included, but it's a small numbers. When you click through, you're like, oh, it's like 100,000 policies. They're just not rewriting new ones and stuff. But yeah, we're going to continue down that path, Jay, for sure. Brother, thank you for being with us. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll get you in touch with Ross on Monday. Who do we got next there, Jimothy, at 877-927-6969?
Next up, we have Julie. We were talking Zillow earlier, and that prompted Julie to give us a call. Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, how you all doing?
We're doing great, Julie. What's going on?
Hi, Tim. I know you. You've been to my house. This is Julie. It's Cheryl Carp.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I just saw the message on Facebook or YouTube too, Julie. How are you doing? I didn't recognize your voice right away. I know that you've been through a lot, so I hope you're doing better now.
I'm doing much better. Thank you very much.
I was
But
very
do have a
sad to
question.
hear that.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Yeah. What was your question though, Julie?
Okay. Well, I have completely redone the inside from top to bottom. Everything. Had a contractor come in, take the popcorn ceiling down, repainted, gutted the kitchens, the bathrooms, the bedrooms, and from top to bottom, and new appliances. And the outside I've painted new colors, put in new landscaping and lighting.
Wow, sounds great.
Yeah. So it is. My question is, how do you get Zillow to change the photo that they have on their website, which is an old photo from when I first moved here?
Okay, so my first question I have to ask you, Julian, we know each other a little bit, so I know it's been a while, but why do you care? That's my first question. Why do you care if Zillow has a bad photo of your house? Is it just an ego thing? Is it? I know you just renovated, so you're very proud, but is it an ego thing?
Yeah. Well, it's part ego and part, at some point I may want to sell, and I don't, want a photo that looks, kind of crappy.
Is it a photo from probably the last time it was listed for sale?
Or is it like a Google map
image
photo?
search?
Yeah, Google image search. What do you think?
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know. Remember, Jim, when we were gonna, sell it?
I actually remember sitting with you and Mark, and I can even remember what the room was like. I kind of remember your house, believe it or not, even though it's been all those years ago. I actually kind of remember your house, Julie. So I do remember this stuff, and this is what's going to happen. So you don't have to worry about this in the long run. So like if you were to sell the house later, right, and you were going to put it on the market, as soon as that the photos were on the MLS, within 4 business days, or I shouldn't say business days, within about 96 hours, those photos will probably get connected to Zillow automatically. Okay.
Oh.
So then so it'll show the nice new pictures of the house that's being sold as opposed to the
listing.
Yeah, with the
Right.
listing. So all the listing photos will end up going into Zillow.
I see.
Automatically through the
From the
MLS.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's how it kind of works with that. Zillow has a contract with all the different MLSs across the country. I don't know how many there are, but there are a ton of MLSs all over the country. I wish they would just have one per state or something, or a national MLS, but they don't. So what happens is Zillow has and other companies like that have contracts with MLS, and the MLSs will then automatically upload their feed to Zillow. There is a delay of some kind, even though they say that there's not. From what I see, there's definitely a delay.
Sure, because when you put it on the MLS and when it shows up on Zillow. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And when you put it on MLS, it's instantaneous, right?
Right.
When you make a change to that, it's instantaneous. But Zillow takes a while to pick it up.
But you say it's about
4. I usually say 96
days.
hours. But now I've been saying 4 days, and that's when we first started the show. I don't know if they're they seem like they've gotten a little faster, but I don't know the exact time. And sometimes, people are still calling about properties I sold 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to look at that property.
Yeah,
it's like,
so that's old.
yeah.
Right.
So well, I'm so happy that you, it must feel like a brand new house now with all the renovations you've
Oh,
done.
it is absolutely a brand new house. You would not recognize it.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. So, well, I took some money that I got lucky, from family, and decided to do my house. And my sisters bought a house in North Carolina with theirs, so I chose to, just completely redo everything so that I was happy where I was living.
Yeah, it's a nice home, and now that you upgraded, you have many, many years of use with it without worrying about stuff, which will be great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But if she does want to get the photo updated, she just needs to list it for sale, get pictures taken, then it'll update, and then you can take it off, right?
Yeah, you could even do it for sale by owner, right? Because they pick up. So you could just take a picture of the front of the house, put it on for sale by owner, and then just so you have the ego photo there.
No, and if you're going to go to the trouble of that, Julie, then hire Jim. Jim knows a good real estate photographer.
Yeah.
They're going to make it look like tip top.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you might as well get that prime placement so everybody can see what you've done to that place.
I did have an old boyfriend say, "Oh, I saw your house on Zillow," and I'm like, "Oh,
geez,
that kind of feels stalker-ish.
Stalker-ish.
Huh?
Yeah.
I guess that's what they do these days. They check you out.
All the way on Zillow, even.
Yeah, right. Isn't it crazy?
Julie, you have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for being with us, and you call in with any questions or concerns in the future.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. 877-927-6969. That's toll free. If you'd like to be a part of the program, you're more than welcome. Got about 40 minutes remaining on this Saturday. We did determine it's the 29th of July.
Somebody had a critique about our show today. Carlos put a message on Facebook saying that Mike looks very sleepy today.
Yeah, I think my eyes are puffy this morning for some reason. I don't know why.
Puffy eyes.
Cucumbers or something.
I was waiting for that 3 a.m. to 3:05 shift on the call. Didn't get my beauty sleep. What up, Carlos? Carlos is a real estate agent. He's an agent, but he also coaches agents. So he's actually
cool.
really, really good guy.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, I wanted to go into a little bit about what's going on with the interest rates and everything and what happened with the Fed Reserve, because all this is kind of important. So the Fed Reserve, they went ahead last week, and was it this week or last week? Oh my God, it's been such a blur.
Like Wednesday.
Nancy, come back.
Sounds about right.
So the Fed Reserve raised the rates another quarter point.
Yep.
They think they might be done for a while.
That soft landing might be coming in too, huh?
That's what they're saying, but Florida,
it's really soft.
But Florida's not. You know what? Here's something very interesting, Johnny. Did you read about the inflation report state by state?
I didn't break it down like that. No, I did not. Is there articles to
find
that?
There's an article. I saved it for this, so we're going to talk about it in this segment, but we're going to get to that because it's very interesting how you keep mentioning, I don't believe the inflation rate's going down. Well, there might be a real reason for that of your perspective, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I was like, maybe this is why Johnny feels this way.
Yeah.
But Mike, so what happened is they raised the Fed Reserve rate. That doesn't necessarily mean that the interest rates for houses are going to go up or down, because it's really not tied. But
they are, but they're not, right?
But they are, but they're not sometimes, right?
They're not, but they are. I would say it that way.
Yeah, they're not, but they are. Yeah. So this week, last week, the week before last, we were at 6.96 or 6.97. I was like, are we going to hit the 7 again like we did last year? And the answer to that last week was no, because we dropped down a little bit. I think it was to 6.78, Mike.
6.7 something.
I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too.
No, a slight increase.
Yeah, well, this week was a slight increase, but the week before last,
6.78. Yeah, it went from 6.96 down to 6.78, and then a slight bump by this Thursday to 6.81. So then on Friday, I would say rates were even ticked up a little bit more.
That's what I heard.
Well, next week's probably going to be up.
Yeah.
Maybe flat, maybe down a little.
It might just be.
Right.
We have no idea.
Might be different. Might be the same.
You'll often see, like, following the Fed rate, you'll see a little bit of a dip in mortgage because it's like, oh, Well, they did what we thought they were going to do, but now we think they're slowing down. And I've heard a lot of that. Like, are they going to slow down? I don't know. If I were betting, I would say probably another bump, at least one more the rest of the year. I would say if I were betting.
The Feds wish the mortgage rates, the lending for mortgages would go up. I think
that's what I think.
I think they would like to get with the banks and be like, please, will you make it like 8%?
That's what
and
I'm
just
thinking.
leave it there for a minute, like 2 years, please.
Yeah.
So we don't have to keep bumping our rate. Just set yours, and let's see what happens to the housing market, because they're still trying to tamp the housing market specifically in this state.
Yeah, it's tough because inventory is really tight still, and so I'm seeing you see multiple offer situations, and there's definitely an affordability crunch. Interest rates in combination with insurance rates is really hitting people hard, like new home shoppers.
Yep.
The first time home buyer programs, the down payment assistance have been really helpful. People getting into the home, but that doesn't get you over the payment hump. That gets you over the cash hump. Right. So it's just really, it's tough. It's tough. And I think you were talking off air, Jim, about like how much money you have to make now to afford a home versus what you had to make 5 years ago or 4 years ago or something.
There's a report that came out. Looking at it here. Okay, I don't know who did the report, but I really try to keep good news sources and not crazy news sources. So I don't know who did the report, but what they're saying is nationally, compared to a year ago, first-time home buyers need 13% more income this year than last year to buy, quote, an affordable home. But in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, it's 25% higher.
Wow.
Right. You have to get a 25% raise basically to afford the affordable home.
I almost threw up with the 13% number. That's,
yeah. I wonder if like what's the measure of the affordable, or is it 13% now compared to last year?
Let me read this paragraph because this made my mouth drop even more. So it says first-time home buyer must earn roughly $64,500 nationally for a typical U.S. starter home.
Why do they bother saying first time?
Because they're talking about starter homes and getting people. This is about.
I mean, anybody.
Well, that's true, but yeah, I don't.
I don't know why they insist on pointing out first.
What they're trying to show is everybody's talking about how affordability is pushing out a lot of first-time home buyers, the people that normally at this point of their life would get a toehold in the market and start their homeowner journey of buying their first home and then starting that transition. And it's been very difficult for them. So that's what this is about. That's why they're focusing on first timers.
Well, the first timers need inventory to open up to get back in play. And the inventory's got only way that opens up is for those people to feel like they can get into a new home as well. But they also have to make 13 to 25% more to qualify. So
yeah.
So what it says is that the average person needs about $7,200 a year in the country compared to last June in order to buy an affordable home. And then it says it's even worse in many Florida metros, with the strongest demand for higher income occurring in Broward County. Fort Lauderdale buyers need to earn $58,300 per year to purchase a $220,000 home. The typical price for a starter home in that area. Come on, give me a break.
Typical price for a starter home in Broward County
is $220, right? The median sales price for a single family home right now in Broward County is over $600,000.
Median.
Yeah, median.
Yeah, but what about all those?
More, half sell less.
What about all those starter homes they have on the inventory? Right? Right? Hey, it's for first time home buyers only, but it's the house.
Right. So is that simple math, Mike? Do I double that to get to a $440,000?
My gut tells me no, Johnny, but it could be. So
I'm gonna put in.
I guess the mortgage payment's gonna. See, a portion of the mortgage payment is taxes and insurance, and those are going to kind of scale, but not necessarily scale the same way your principal and interest would.
Sure. So we're not totally doubling, but
yeah, it's on that order. Something close to that.
Get to like 80, 90.
Yeah,
something like that for 440, and we're still not like to the median.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what would the payment be on the 220? Payments probably. You know,
1,800.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little bit south of 2,000.
Yeah.
You know, tax insurance, maybe HOA probably at that price point.
Okay, so I just pulled up the MLS live. Okay, so I'm live on the MLS right now. I punched in Broward County.
Yeah.
No home worth more than 220 that's active right now.
Okay.
Right. So that includes townhomes, townhomes,
I got hose.
townhomes,
Townhomes.
condos, single family.
Condos, is that what you said?
Yeah, townhomes. I'm having a hard time here. I'm having a Mitch.
He's got something on his mind.
I
don't know
think
what
I
it
know
is.
really.
I'm looking for that 55
Something.
plus.
I'm having a Mitch McConnell moment right now. So
Manufacturer.
so how many properties for sale, no matter what type of properties they are in Broward County, how many of them do you think are for sale that are 220 or less?
I was terrible at this.
You included condos?
Yep, everything.
You included 55 plus?
Yep, everything. Membership equity, everything.
All right. How many for sale right now?
2.
At 43.
No, 1,216.
That's what I meant.
Then I took
1,400.
Then I took out, then I just did single family homes. How many single family homes are under 220 active right now in Broward County?
Right, so this is first timers that actually have a chance because that was like 55 plus included.
Yeah, everything, membership equity, all kinds of stuff. Right.
Now I think we get down into like there's 27,
43,
9.
I put 10
in
up
the
first
whole friggin' county.
If
9.
you're on Facebook, you saw me put 10
Okay.
up the first time.
Now, out of the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them don't count because one of them's on the market for $25. Another one's on the market for $225. Another one's on the market for $249. And then one of them's on the market for $20,000.
I'll take the package.
So let's look at the
All of them for
$25 one.
25.
So what's going on with this $25 one?
What?
This $25 house is a 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3-bath home. This is what it's claiming. And it says this is an auction-based, membership-based property. You must become a member to participate. So this is one of those deals where you sign up into a membership for an auction.
No, I looked at the deed. It's Prince Johnson from Nigeria.
Oh, it's
he's the legitimate owner.
Right,
Well, then that clears it right up.
Let's become members.
So 4 of them,
I got to check.
4 of them are no good. So there's really 5 homes,
Take my
single
dad.
family homes that are 225 or less, right? 220 or less. So that article sucks. What we learned is that article, whoever wrote that article, and by the way, Redfin did this study. Okay.
Wow, that's
you know,
just empty.
you know,
There's nothing
Redfin,
there.
the expert real estate company that lost how many hundreds of millions of dollars a few years last year?
Lots.
How many hundreds of millions?
I heard they changed their name to In the Redfin.
So anyway, it is very hard to buy a home right now. Tom was a perfect example of that. School teacher just wants to own a home. His salary isn't very good. Florida is Florida for a reason.
Jeez.
Well, no, it's serious. I mean, I don't mean about Tom. I'm saying he's getting paid by the state or the county not very well because, you know, that's the way teachers are. I just saw they were trying to pass a regulation in the state where or a county was going to raise their teacher's salary to $100,000 a year as base. And they just voted it down.
Oh, good.
Right. Yeah. Cause that makes sense. So, and the reason why they were talking about that is the fleeing of the amount of teachers that are just fleeing this area. I had 3.
They'd rather, instead of pay them, they'd rather just have people that are completely unqualified teach. Be like, well, they were in the military, so they can be a teacher.
Or
like,
don't
what?
even have, or don't even have enough teachers and just go, I guess we're just
not
going
gonna
to
have 'em. We're
raise
just-
the classroom
Yep,
size or whatever.
That's the fix.
You know, it's just so crazy. Yep. So one of the things that you can do to make things a little more affordable is the down payment assistance programs out there. Tom is getting, how much is Tom getting on that roughly?
Roughly 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
So he's getting 10,000, which is a big chunk of what he
Yes.
needs to buy the place.
Beautiful.
And that doesn't help your mortgage payment or anything. But what it does, it doesn't hurt your mortgage payment because you're not paying on that $10,000 that you're getting from the state. also you are getting a little bit of a lower interest rate still, Mike, than what the prevailing rate is with that program.
I mean, it's going to depend on which program you're doing specifically, whether you're
Mhm.
FHA, conventional, but yeah, competitive, if not better rate.
Right.
Still.
So you're not getting penalized for getting the 10,000 in any way. You
The
do have
closing
to,
costs are actually a little bit lower when you're using down payment assistance.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
So
actually incentivized to use
It's
it.
very,
Yeah.
very nice.
Ah.
Very, very nice the way they've rolled these out.
and that gets to other agents again, not understanding stuff. You do not know how many agents have called me on our lower priced homes, and then they're asking questions about it. I'm like, so is your buyer doing conventional FHA or VA? Yeah. I go, they're using the first time, they're using the Live Local Act or the Hometown Heroes 2.0, right? What's that?
Oh no.
I'm like, you don't know that your buyer can get up to $35,000 to help pay for down payment and closing costs? No. One guy, I walked him through the whole thing to help them. They were interested in one of our properties. I told him about that program. He did the research, and then they didn't end up buying the property, but he's still doing the program.
Right?
Yeah, so he learned.
Sure.
But the thing is like that's another thing that agents have to know what's going on in the market and the different changes. I mean, Hometown Heroes has been around what, 2 years now, Mike? Do you think?
So yeah, it basically July was July was the beginning of the second year.
Okay.
So this month, just earlier this month.
Cool.
And the beginning of the second year was where it opened up to not just Hometown Heroes, but opened up to the masses.
So the very first year of the program is called Hometown Heroes because it targeted the heroes of our community, which there was a lot of professions, but generally police, fire, medical, education, those types of workers, right?
Yeah. County,
yeah.
state.
And so this July, the beginning of this month, it opened up to all Florida residents who work full time in Florida. And so it was really it has been super popular. But the funds we're a month in and the funds are like half gone.
Yep.
And it's going I would say it's going about 10 million a week at this point, right?
Wow.
Like the first week it was like what, 20 million, I forget, 30 million almost, and then
31 or
it's been
something
about
like that.
10 so far. So
you answered the question. I know you said when this program was kicking in, there was a bunch of people like in the hopper, right?
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of people waiting for that. So there were buyers out there who maybe they were qualified for the 10K, but they liked the 5% number better, would have given them more. And so they were kind of waiting for this. And we had the anticipation in our group of clients.
Sure.
Too, Jim. We're like
Yeah.
people who were really, this is going to help them get into the home that they wanted.
Right.
So these funds are running fast, Jim. And I don't know that if it stays at 10 million a week, we got another, month of funding available. And so,
And why I really like that program, if that program goes away, there's still another down payment assistance program. We used it for a while, the bond program, which is $10,000.
Yeah.
10,000 flat.
But
right.
this is supposed to be evergreen. We still don't know how it gets replenished or at what rate.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, it's we know that they're going to refund. It's evergreen, meaning that it's continuously funded. Part of that funding is when people repay the money. Right.
Sure.
We're still very early days, so I don't think that they're getting a lot of
it's going to be
money
years.
coming back from that.
Mhm.
So I just don't know. I heard somebody said, well, they only meet the sessions once a year, so they can only fund it once a year. So I don't know how they're going to manage that. But as it stands right now, unfortunately for the hero category, they're kind of feeling like, well, geez, everyone's using, we're not ready yet. We're going to be ready in 3 months.
Right.
Well, in 3 months, that might not be available, at least the 5%, but we'll see how it plays out. I think it's still a little bit of mystery about that.
It will be interesting. And this is getting back to the economy. I want to slide back to how all this is affecting us, the economy, the national economy, the local economy. So we've been really following the inflation because the Fed, that's why they've raised the rates to 5.25, 5.5. That's the range they're at right now for the bank-to-bank lending. And that's kind of where they wanted to hit when they talked about doing this a year ago. So we're where they said they were going to, and they never stopped. They didn't waver. Even when they took a break, their intent was to come back and kick it up again. And we've been watching the inflation rates nationally cool down. But
Can I
there's
ask
4
Mike to do
states.
something real quick? Just real quick.
Mhm.
Mike, can you see historically where those numbers always landed for the Fed? Can you do you have a
just
chart
like
for
the
that?
historical chart on the Fed rate.
Oh, I haven't done that. That's a good one.
Will you go back and look and see where it was before we went into full QE? So like what? When was it? Like
2008. So I have the answer. Let me see if I can predict.
Well, okay,
well,
but I don't
Mike's
want to
phone
throw
up.
your thought
No,
process
that's okay.
off, but I really
let
wanted
me
to
predict
see.
when you pull it up, Mike. Don't say it. I want to
Right.
predict.
You want to know what the Fed rate was,
right?
Not mortgage rate.
No, the Fed rate. I have an answer for that.
What year are we talking about? 2000.
So like
08,
07.
Yeah,
maybe 6 even.
08, I think.
Okay.
Well, 06 would be better.
I think what you have to do is you have to start looking at the chart. You have to start in the early 2000s. So, so 2004, it was at the lowest point that it had been at, ever probably.
In 2006, we were somewhere, I think, in the high sixes. It might have hit 8, but I think we were in the high sixes at that point.
What do you got?
All right, so starting at 2004 was at 1, or the lowest looks like it was at 1, right? There was a steady climb. August 2006, it was at 5.25.
5.25.
So over a 2-year span, they bumped up 4 points, 4.25.
Right about where we're at
because
right
of
now.
the inflation.
Yeah,
at
and
the
then
time.
June 2007, right? So we're talking the highest in the kind of the beginning of 2000 or middle of 2006. A year later, a very sharp decline. So June it was 5.25, and then and that's 2007. And so then December, by the end of 2008, it was a 0.16.
Yeah,
so
because
almost
they were
zero.
dropping like points at a whole time, like a whole point drop and
that
stuff.
QE.
Yeah,
Yep.
not quarter
Sorry,
point stuff.
that wasn't
we're
super
doing.
fluid, but yeah.
Right.
So basically 2009 all the way through 2015,
But-
2016, it stayed at 0. Pretty much.
So we kind of only had a few years where it got to 5, like a couple,
Right.
and then it went way
That's
back down
true.
again. Where were we at 2000?
Yeah, higher than close to 6,
6, 8.
Yeah, 6.25.
All right, so 6 is probably like a sweet spot for us if things are
Kind of
doing
normal.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
what was
what
it
I'm
in the
thinking.
90s? Like 96. Just throwing a dart.
Around 5.5,
Yeah.
around
So
6.
We're
good
kind of
times
where we are in a normal
where
market.
we should be.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, so you've been saying for so long now, even though we've been watching the statistics for inflation go down and down and down, we were at just using the national statistics, we were at 9.1, and now we're at basically 3. And that happened over a 10, 12-month period. And every month it's gone down, almost every month guaranteed it's gone down. But Johnny's always said, I can't feel it. I can't feel it. I don't believe it. The people I talk to don't feel that.
Yeah,
We're being
just
squeezed.
speaking for the masses.
Well, there's a reason for that, Johnny, and I didn't realize this until I read this report. We have the highest inflation in the country. Florida.
Yeah.
Yep. Our inflation is 9% right now. So we're at where the height was for national.
And they blame
And
it
it's-
on the housing market.
It's only on the housing
Yeah.
market, they're saying. So the housing market's what's making everything, quote, unaffordable down here. Now, I'm not disagreeing with that answer.
Analysis.
Yeah, the analysis of that. But that's part of the reason why we're not feeling the same as other parts of the country right now. So again, we're in a pick your reality situation. Hey, nationally we're down, but Florida we're up.
Nationally, and you might be, and I know rentals isn't what Florida Talk Real Estate specializes in, but you deal with enough real estate. Nationally, they're saying rentals are cooling off.
That's what I'm seeing.
In Florida, specifically South Florida, is it happening? Because if housing drives our inflation, that would be indicative of the answer being nope.
Well, we just had somebody that's going to be selling a house and decided to rent, and Mava went out, and we have to do it very fast. Their budget was only $2,000 a month, which is not super high here. Now, thank God they were able to go a very large geographic regions, so they were opened up to a lot of opportunities.
That's helpful.
Now, they ended up going to Vero Beach, which is pretty far north from here because they're in West Palm, but they're getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage for $2,000 a month. Right?
So that's a good commute.
Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they have to be in West Palm, which is why they have the flexibility. But and they had like 8 other properties to choose from in their price range in different geographic regions. So they had choices. Right? They had choices now where before it was very difficult for a choice. I can tell you that I'm renting right now because I went through some personal events and decided not to buy yet. And I'm living on the 11th floor of a beachfront condo, and I'm paying $200 a month less than I was paying at my other beachfront condo, which was only on the second floor.
Okay, so maybe they are cooling a little bit.
So they are cooling off a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about that income number you threw out before to get the $220,000 home. You had to be making, what'd you say, 55,000 a year?
58 and change. Yeah.
And so the 2,000 is probably close to that, where that payment lands, maybe a little bit under, but you got to be making 55,000 a year to afford a rent payment of 2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, think about we have young adults, like kids who are growing to that age. Like, I remember moving out when I was, old enough, young enough and old enough to do it right. And rent was affordable at that time, back in the late 90s or whatever it was. And it's tough now. If you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, trying to get out in the world, you better have 2, 3, 4 roommates lined up.
Yeah, you're
right?
definitely doing the roommate
I
thing.
think that also explains why a lot of kids are staying home with their parents
and have been
at older ages.
And I don't understand how kids make money today. I know
you
a
dance
bunch of younger
with the phone in front of you or something.
Well, this whole
There's
side gig income. I know a lot of kids that are making like real money, like
Sure.
50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year with these side income gigs. It's just so foreign to me. I don't understand.
The last couple of years, it kind of became trendy. Your side hustle, your side gig, and it's like, well, that's called a second job.
Yeah,
it's always
exactly.
been there.
Yeah.
And wow, you make more money when you get another job.
Yeah.
Novel.
Who would have thought?
Right, you work 80 hours a week.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but probably it's more like, how can I work the 4-hour work week and make that kind of money on my side hustle? What do you call it? Passive income or stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of kids with the side hustle, they're doing a lot of social media or internet related to like sales, right? And the thing is with that is you have to do it consistently all the time, and then you become a slave to the algorithm. So it might be pretty big
hustle.
money. Yeah, and it is. That's your hustle. But the thing is, you got to have a passion for it.
Yes.
Because you'll burn out so fast.
No matter what it
right?
is.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, that's true. But that is like, you got to feed the monster all the time. I remember when I worked on a daily newspaper, right? When we had the gigantic papers that weighed 12 pounds when they landed on your doorstep, right? So we had to fill that monster, right? So every time a new ad came in, we had a page to fill, right? So when we were low on content, for news, the editors be walking around the newsroom going, what are you doing to make this a daily newspaper today? Right. And they were just like, feed the monster, feed the monster. It's kind of like that with the algorithm, but on steroids, right? With that kind of stuff. And if you slow down, you get burnt. So then the kids do it and then they get burnt out, with it. But it's very interesting how the economy has changed so much. I mean, I would have never, when we were all growing up, that wasn't even a chance for reality to be doing that kind of stuff.
I haven't done a single pre-approval for somebody who was like an influencer, made their money off of ad, revenue from videos. I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're doing that, and you think you're going to need a mortgage, you really got to pay attention to your tax returns and how you prepare that and how you kind of report that income. So maybe that's like a good topic to talk about with.
It's kind of like any
self-employed
situation. You gotta position yourself well. You might be making tons of money, but if you're not reporting it properly, you're not going to be able to get the loan to get the home you're looking for. And that's important. You need pros. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got them all.
With the economy, here's another thing that's like looks good for the inflation to continue to slow down. Americans start to cut back. Vacations take a hit. They're saying this vacation time, we're going to start seeing people taking less vacations right now. This is just another indicator of there's been other reports coming out that people have been slowing down
feeling
their
the crunch.
discretionary
They call those like personal
spending.
expenditures, right? Is they call them?
Discretionary, I think.
Discretionary, personal discretionary expenditures.
Mhm.
I don't believe it. I really don't. I haven't seen it yet. Not with my own eyes. Until I see it with my own eyes is when I start to believe it. And I can only deal with, South Florida. But out and about and going, because we like to attend our concerts and we like to go. We are still spending.
I think Jim and I, because we're in the real estate market for our income, we've seen that slow down, Jim, right? Compared to especially mortgages where refis, I had 2 years where refis were just there, and now they're not. And so that has been nationally, like the mortgage store. But I would say in the real estate market, you see the crunch, right? You see people making less, therefore you got to spend less, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making less, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that market, maybe you don't feel it so much, right?
I don't. I got to tell you, you get into a marketplace like my daily grind.
Yeah.
Man, it is picking up at a ravenous pace. That is
And
absolutely personal discretionary.
That's in a
expenditure.
discretionary spending.
Wow,
world,
is it
right?
ever, right? And I know that's a little cryptic for radio, but mine's it's a cannabis industry.
Right.
No,
That
but
is
it could
the
be cheaper.
epitome.
It could be cheaper to do that and stay home than going out.
Okay, but no, that's just not the way it is.
No.
Look, nothing's 100%. It
Yeah.
just isn't.
Yeah.
When I'm out, I'm not alone. You're waiting.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
lines,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
there's a demand for everything from airfare on through hotels. Try to book a hotel room somewhere on the beach, somewhere in South Florida, and tell me what you come up with.
Oh,
it's expensive.
Oh, sure.
And they're booked.
Yeah.
They're booked. They're
Well,
not
that's-
empty.
That's
If
the
they're
key.
empty,
They're booked.
Well,
and-
yeah.
and he's try to get a flight. Like you
Which
said.
is
if they're
also-
empty, they're empty, we get our pricing. We're not there. It's just not happening.
And I mean, it makes it interesting that Jim's open house today and the other listing that you talked about, Jim, very close to the beach. You would think people like investors would be kind of really having eyes on that as an investment property because of what you just mentioned, right? That it's tourism is still high, right?
High.
Based on hard to book a hotel.
At least it seems like it, unless they are manipulating their numbers to get us to pay more.
We could also be benefiting if people are cutting back on vacations. Maybe they're cutting back on like an overseas vacation, but Florida is still a great vacation destination.
Oh,
we
yeah.
also have the cruise industry, which, could replace maybe going to Europe or, something like that.
Speaking of Florida, this is nothing that we need to get in depth on, but I want everybody listening, including all of you looking at me right now, to look up the story of the brother manatees in Florida and the horrific, tragic details of the death of one of them.
Okay.
The brother manatees?
Brother
manatees?
manatees in Florida.
Huh.
And the horrific, tragic details over the death of one of them.
Oh my gosh! All I can think is they got run over by a boat with the propeller. It's
No,
obviously
they were
it
in
had to be way
captivity.
worse.
They
than
were
that.
in
Oh, they were in captivity.
And this was allowed
Wow.
to happen
Wow.
for months, Jim.
Right.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
reading a headline right now.
We are not going to get into the
Yeah, we can't
details
talk
on
about
this
that
show.
on the air.
I just want everybody listening to look into this
Okay,
story.
I'm gonna now as soon as we get off the air, I'm gonna do it before I go to my thing.
Oh boy.
Brothers
look,
don't shake hands.
It's wild.
Uh,
Don't just read the headline. Read the story, all of it, and you'll be like, no.
is it a Florida
No
thing?
way.
Obviously, it's Florida, or it's in a
Oh, it's
different part of the country.
That's Florida.
How does
Okay,
it
I
relate to real estate?
It doesn't. Florida came up.
It's in Florida. Hey, the foreclosure thing. I want to wrap up the end of the show with the foreclosure stuff. I've been reading these headlines where foreclosures are up across the nation and blah blah blah. The June report just came out a week and a half ago. We have average sales going on right now for closings, and the price keeps going up. But here last month we had four foreclosures closed out of 1,400 single family homes. 4 of them were closed, were foreclosures, and 4 were short sales. Short sales are where the bank is taking less than was owed as payment in full. Right? Foreclosures are where the bank already took the house back and they own it and they're selling it on the open market. So 8 out of 1,420 homes. Then I went back to look at the last 3 years or 4 years. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, the chart. There's so few foreclosures. I can't read the chart because it's less than 1% of the market. Right. So we're at 99.9 basically of regular sales and 0.01 of distress sales. Right. So this whole thing that the market's going to crash and that, all these buyers are just waiting for that to happen.
The short sales are interesting though, aren't they? I think
4.
Well, but to me in this kind, and I know, man, real estate is street to street, county to county, but just any in this environment feels like
you're trying to think of the scenario where someone is upside down. And so when would you have had to buy to be upside down? I can't think of it. So maybe I'm just thinking somebody who got in trouble on a very recent purchase.
Or
very recent purchase.
Or it isn't the house that's making them upside down. What happens if they had a code enforcement fine that's $500,000 on the house and they got to deal with it to sell it to clear the title?
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a tax situation, the tax bill has to be paid, and that makes it upside down because they haven't paid their taxes for 3 years or something
but
like that.
why take less? Why not go into foreclosure and take all? I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, the bank's only going to authorize a short sale if they feel it's less loss than if they did the foreclosure process.
Right.
So the foreclosure process can take a longer time and cost the lender money. They also have to participate in the auction just like everybody else.
True.
Right. And so they have to win that auction or, not win it. Right. If they don't think so. The short sale is advantageous. They'll allow the short sale if they think it's going to cost them less.
Okay. Makes sense then. There it is.
So I'm trying to pull up
but there's only 4 of them, right?
Yeah,
there's 4. So
yeah.
I'm just trying to think like what were the market conditions where you bought, when did you buy to be upside down compared to what you borrowed on it? Right. You didn't get a loan over the value of the home when you started. So the home would have had to decline in value, which I don't see, or, you just had fees and some special circumstance.
Like something else happening. Out of the 27,000 properties on the MLS, our MLS right now, there's 27,000 properties for sale. There's 33 short sales for sale out of 27,000. Okay. Now, with REOs, and I'm pulling this live on the MLS right now, guys. With the REOs or foreclosures, it stands for real estate owned, and that means real estate owned by the bank. And realtors call it REO, not foreclosure. There's 106 foreclosures on the market out of the 27,000. So if you add the two together, it's about 140 out of 27,000.
Yeah.
So let's see what percentage that is. 140 divided by 27,000 comes out to 0.005%. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
Nothing.
So we don't have that in the market.
But they're up.
And but they're going up, guys. Yeah, they're up. So the thing is that this is just, when we were having problems when the last crash we had, and I'm not talking about COVID crash, I'm talking about the last crash where we're talking 06 through 08. Okay. The canary in the coal mines were there, all showing the indicators. People were stopping to make their payments. There was a lot of pre-foreclosure notices. All this stuff was building and building and building.
Yep.
There's nothing here. There's just nothing here to work with to create that scenario. I'm not a rah-rah person. Everybody knows that about me. I don't just, I don't take the realtors, National Association of Realtors scripts and always say it's always a good time to buy, always a good time to sell. But right now, these buyers, the ones that I'm most sad about right now are, I think about Megan. I'm not going to go into last names, but I'm thinking about Megan and a guy named Caleb and some of these other people. And I understand where they're coming from. They're so tight on affordability, but they don't want to get in the market because they think something better is going to happen down the road. And unfortunately, right now, it doesn't look like it's going to get better for the buyers.
So unfortunately, a lot of people have been saying that and holding for couple of years now, and it's only just gotten worse and worse and worse while they're anticipating it getting better. And
it's the frog in the pot of water, and then you turn it on and they start boiling and they don't know that they're boiling, right? So, and I know Mike was always want to say, hey, it doesn't really matter about the market so much. It's whether what matters in your life. Do you need to buy a home now?
100% on board with it. The best time to buy is when it's right for you and your family. That's
that's true.
But also part of that conversation is getting into a payment that's affordable. So knowing your income is stable and your debt position is stable. And so you get into a payment that you're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to be one of those foreclosures or short sale numbers.
That's right.
And some people, they know what that number is, and they just can't find anything that results in that number. And so that's where they're like, I need, when you say waiting for it to get better, they're talking about getting to that number that they know they can afford.
And the thing is that and I understand where they're coming from. And sometimes the answer is no is the right answer, right? But
not now.
Yeah, but now is not when I say no, I mean not right now. But in the future, we don't have any in the last 3
right.
In the last 3 years, we haven't had any movement that's been in favor of the buyers.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, and the people are still coming down, more competition, inventory shrinking again.
The only thing that's really happened that's been in favor of the buyers is the Hometown Heroes expanding to Live Local Act.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing that's happened to buyers has been a little bit of advantageous.
So Florida, what do you got to do, Mr. and Mrs. legislators out there? Increase our homestead exemptions. Save $1,400 a month on your taxes, and let's put that towards the insurance.
Hey, if you really care about your constituents, yeah, you can help us. You just got to do it.
I saw a city that's going to increase their tax rate by 17% in this
property
market.
tax.
Property tax, 17% increase in the city.
Oh, they're going to get a foreclosure pop, huh?
Oh,
well, what
my
do they
God.
get for that?
I don't know, but why would you increase when we have
Well,
the highest sales ever?
How about
highest
the teacher
property
salaries?
sales ever? Yeah, it would be nice if they put it towards infrastructure like the teachers and things like that.
Well, so
that would
that's
help.
where it gets interesting. Rubber meets the road, right? Like
Yeah.
we all want more money for the teachers, but what are we willing to do to make it
Not
happen? Nothing. That's right. Sucks. Thank you for being with us on a Saturday, man. You got access to an entire team of pros. Look, we like to have some fun on a Saturday, try to keep you entertained, maybe make you smile while giving you really important information. But when you want to go with pros on important things you're dealing with, buying or selling a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, and all the things that affect those deals, I got people that specialize in that at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Find them on Facebook and YouTube. Details for an open house today, 1 to 4 on Florida Talk Real Estate Facebook page. Get those details. Go see Mava from 1 to 4 today. But always remember that .com. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Have a great weekend.
You too, brother. Thanks, everybody.
Jimmy D, that's Jim DePola with the Florida Home Pros team. I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Thank you. You too, Johnny. I'm going to go out show properties to Middle and Mitesh right now.
Good luck out there. Jimothy, you're going to make some radio with Greek and Joe?
Sure am, yeah. We're going to talk some sports, baby.
Lots going on,
Don't
too.
go anywhere.
You're going to be talking about Women's World Cup the whole time?
Absolutely.
Bet so. Knowing Greek, I bet that's going to be topic A, B, and C.
Got brought up during the week.
I love it.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Fantastic.
They beat
USA.
Vietnam, and then they tied with the Netherlands. And I think Tuesday's their next game, correct?
Wow.
I do believe.
Jimmy's watching.
Good. That's a good thing. Get you some locker room, get it all over your face. Thanks for being with us on a Saturday. We'll be back at it next Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate, 2 hours of infotainment right here on Real Radio.